protesters are fast-moving.
Unlike other big rallies,
But earlier at about 7 a.m., a group from the Coast Guard.
Welcome to #PHVote 2013.
today on Rappler, Senator Juan Ponce Enrile is detained in a police hospital. Terrorist group ISIS takes full control of Syria's main oil sources. And Indonesia's presidential contenders turn to social media to win the youth vote. Hello, I'm Katerina Francisco. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. Senator Juan Ponce Enrile is now in detention at a police camp hospital. Enrile surrenders Friday at police headquarters Camp Crame following an arrest warrant issued by anti-graft court Sandigan Bayan. Enrile faces graft and plunder charges filed by the Ombudsman. The Sandigan Bayan also denies a motion for bail filed by Enrile. This comes a month after Enrile was charged for allegedly receiving millions of pesos in kickbacks from public funds diverted to bogus projects. Police take Enrile's mugshots and fingerprints inside Crame's multi-purpose hall. A doctor examines him and Enrile's blood pressure reportedly reaches 190/90. The doctor decides the 90-year-old senator should be detained at the PNP hospital instead of the custodial center where Senators Bong Revilla and Jinggoy Estrada are detained. This is not the first time Enrile has been arrested. In 1990, Enrile was arrested on charges of rebellion against the Corazon Aquino administration. He was arrested for a second time in 2001 for his alleged involvement in a failed Malacanang siege staged by supporters of former President Joseph Estrada. Both charges were dismissed for lack of merit. Earlier, Enrile's fellow Senators Bong Revilla and Jinggoy Estrada surrendered to authorities before their arrest warrants could be served. The two are detained in the Philippine National Police Custodial Center. The Sandigan Bayan orders the arrest of Senator Enrile's former aide Dindin Reyes Friday. This comes after the court denies her plea to suspend proceedings in her plunder and graft cases. Reyes is one of Enrile's co-accused. She submits to the Sandigan Bayan Friday afternoon to submit to its jurisdiction. The court orders that she be detained at the Quezon City Jail. The court also requires the jail warden to report within 3 days from notice if facilities are adequate to fully secure Reyes. As of Friday, Reyes is detained temporarily at the Sandigan Bayan until further orders. The pork barrel scam cases are now in the hands of the Sandigan Bayan. Government prosecutors from the Ombudsman will go up against private lawyers from defense team. De La Salle University College of Law Dean Jose Manuel Diokno says the government's case will stand a chance if private prosecutors come in.
I think that they would benefit a lot if private prosecutors got involved in the case.
Why?
Because the mechanics of conducting a trial, sad to say, I would have more confidence in the private prosecutors than with the public prosecutors.
Do you think they are ready to do battle with very, very veteran lawyers like Flaminiano and Estelito Mendoza?
Let's just say that they are at a tremendous disadvantage, both in terms of skills and in terms of resources. Unfortunately, the best of our litigators never end up in government. The best of our litigators, most of them end up in private firms.
Diokno cites the failed bid of the Ombudsman prosecutors to amend the charge sheet against Senators Bong Revilla and Jinggoy Estrada. The prosecutors withdrew their motion to amend Estrada's information after the court warned the senator might be released. But Diokno says the prosecutors should have stood their ground. He says the motion could have been accepted because the amendments do not change the charge to another crime.
I disagree with the statement that they would have to go free. If the amendment changes the charge, let's say from murder to homicide or to another crime, if you remove people from among the accused, then that would be the consequence. But the amendments here are not like that. One of the things I tell all my students is when you go to court, you stand your ground. When you go to court, you never back down. If you file something, that means that you have absolute conviction that that's the right thing to do. So when you go
Diokno warns the defense team will take advantage of every blunder the prosecution team makes. Diokno says the Ombudsman should make sure there won't be room for doubt in the evidence and testimony they present to the court.
I am hoping that the Ombudsman's office is preparing its witnesses carefully and the exhibits that they will be presenting. It's very technical, but if they fail, for example, to authenticate all those records of Ben Hurloy,
Yes.
that case will crumble just on the fact that they were unable to authenticate evidence. So this, and if the testimonies of the witnesses, vary greatly from what they said, let's say in the Senate, again, that will be exploited by the defense.
The pork barrel scam is the biggest corruption scandal in recent history, where top lawmakers are accused of conniving to steal public funds. Diokno says given the magnitude of the case, it will take years to resolve.
It will take years. In the first place, plunder is one of the hardest cases to prosecute because of the elements, the evidence, the requirements. It's very hard to prosecute. And then you have a number of accused involved. They all have their own lawyers. Each of those lawyers will probably elevate this to the Supreme Court at some point in time. You can easily take
A tropical storm with international name Niuguri is spotted about 1,500 kilometers east of the Visayas region. It's forecast to move northwest at 20 kilometers per hour, with maximum sustained winds of 85 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 100 kilometers per hour. It's not yet within the Philippine area of responsibility. An existing low-pressure area brings a rainy weekend to northern Luzon. State Weather Bureau Pag-asa says the low-pressure area is estimated at 225 kilometers east of Apari, Cagayan as of 4 p.m. Friday. The heavy rains and thunderstorms may trigger flash floods and landslides. Metro Manila and the rest of Luzon and Visayas will be cloudy with light to moderate rains and thunderstorms, while Mindanao will experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms. It's been a rainy June and July in the province of Maguindanao in the southern Philippines. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council reports the rains brought by the Intertropical Convergence Zone Wednesday further aggravate the flooding. This caused the rivers Rio Grande and Patot to overflow, affecting 18 municipalities, 133 barangays, almost 20,000 families, and 100,000 individuals. 9 of the 18 municipalities are declared in a state of calamity. No casualties have been reported, but a man named Randy Ferrenal is missing and 6 passengers injured when a bangka capsized. Check out Rappler's Project Agos microsite, a one-stop shop for educating the public on how to prepare better for disasters. Project Agos aims to raise awareness on climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction and management. It can help people better prepare, respond, and aid in recovery. Visit www.rappler.com/Project Agos. The Philippines and Vietnam announced they will form a commission to forge a stronger, wide-ranging alliance as both countries face security threats from an aggressive China. The move comes after a meeting between Philippine Foreign Secretary Albert de Rosario and his Vietnamese counterpart, Pham Binh Minh, Wednesday. The DFA says both ministers agreed to further promote cooperation in many areas, such as fisheries, defense and security, trade and investment. Experts say strategic partnerships remain vaguely defined, but agree these involve shared objectives to promote regional security. So far, the Philippines has 2 strategic partners, the United States and Japan. Both countries remain challenged by China. Vietnam, on the other hand, has forged at least 10. Prior to the meeting between the foreign secretaries, armies of both nations already vowed to conduct joint training. In an interview with Rappler, Vietnamese ambassador to the Philippines Trong Trio Duong said Manila and Hanoi should stand united in the face of Beijing. He said, quote, "We've got to be united and stand united. We will win." A monitoring group reports terrorist group Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, or ISIS, is now in full control of all main oil and gas fields. In Syria's Deir Azar province bordering Iraq, jihadists seized the major Al Omar oil field Thursday. Also known as the Islamic State, ISIS declared an Islamic caliphate in areas it controls in Syria and Iraq as it spearheads an offensive against Iraqi troops. The group traces its roots to Syria's war, which began as a peaceful movement demanding Assad's ouster, but morphed into a conflict after a brutal crackdown by the regime. jihadists started to pour into Syria months into the fighting, drawing warnings from analysts of a looming regional disaster. Religion and ethnicity play big roles in the Indonesian elections. How will the next president unite a nation divided by faith and race? Ay Makaraig files this video blog.
This is a Masjid Istiqlal in Jakarta, the largest mosque in Southeast Asia, located in the world's biggest Muslim majority nation, Indonesia. Indonesians come here for the Friday prayers and pilgrimage as Muslims observe the holy fasting month of Ramadan. Indonesia takes pride in its unique blend of moderate Islam and democracy. It also hails the diversity in the nation, with various religions and hundreds of ethnic groups and languages. But faith and ethnicity have become hot topics in the presidential election on July 9. Frontrunner Jakarta Governor Joko Widodo, or Jokowi's popularity suffers after a smear campaign that he is a closet ethnic Chinese Christian. Pollsters say this helped cut his lead over rival former Special Forces Commander Prabowo Subianto in a country where nearly 9 out of 10 citizens are Muslim. To counter the rumor, Jokowi's campaign releases its own tabloid showing him at the Hajj pilgrimage in Mecca. He also pushes for a so-called mental revolution to fight religious intolerance through education. Prabowo also stirs controversy for securing the support of conservative Islamic parties and alleged involvement in anti-Chinese violence during Suharto's downfall in 1998. While his campaign is also hit by black propaganda highlighting human rights abuses, the issue does not stick as much as Jokowi's religion. Will Indonesia see a more tolerant leader in the next 5 years? This election will help determine how well this country lives up to its motto, unity in diversity. Ay Makaraig, Rappler, Jakarta, Indonesia.
We have Rappler's Maria Ressa on the line, live from Jakarta, to give more updates on the Indonesian elections. Maria, where do things stand in Indonesia right now?
Katerina, it is extremely exciting. In the words of one of the people we spoke with, everyone is on the edge of their seat. It has been the tail end of a month-long, intense campaign, and what's really shaping up as a historic presidential election that has two main themes. The old versus the new, and the old versus the young. There's a generational gap with a large segment of the young, the youth, supporting Joko Widodo, Jokowi, which symbolizes a break with the past. His folksy charm has captured their imagination, and it gave him a 30% lead last April. But since then, he's seen that lead dwindle, really come down, partly because he dropped the ball in the campaign where he appeared weak and indecisive. It is now a dead heat, with some supporters of General Prabowo Subianto saying that he may actually be in the lead. Prabowo is the man Jokowi is running against. He is seen as the new face of the old guard, and really the old guard. This is a man I covered extensively when I was here in 1998, the former head of Indonesia's Special Forces and the son-in-law of Suharto, who was in power for 32 years. Prabowo is plagued by charges of human rights violations, which the spokesman answered this morning with Rappler. Prabowo has run a military-style campaign that recalls the spirit of Indonesia's founder, Sukarno. You see him wearing the hat that really was a trademark for Sukarno, and of Suharto. So you see the shadow of Suharto in many ways here. The key word for his campaign is tegas in Indonesian. It stands for control, firmness, stability. And his political campaign, including the social media campaigns, have made him a favorite of many Indonesian men. Katerina?
Maria, given all these, what's at stake in the Indonesian elections?
A lot. Really, a lot is at stake. The future, not just of Indonesia, but of Southeast Asia and Asia. Remember, Indonesia is a founding member of ASEAN. It's really the linchpin of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, and that group is about to create one market of more than 600 million people. Indonesia itself is also expected to take a key role in political and security issues, not just in Southeast Asia, like we just showed with Vietnam and the Philippines coming together against China, but also in Asia. Indonesia is a member of the G8. We'll hear more about all of this at the close of the month-long campaign period. It ends tomorrow, the last of 3 presidential debates tomorrow night. We are going to carry it live Saturday night at 9:30 p.m. Manila time on Rappler.
Thank you very much. That was Maria Ressa live from Jakarta, Indonesia. For all news related to the Indonesian elections, visit www.rappler.com/Indonesia and follow live updates from Rappler Indonesia at Rappler ID on Twitter. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 7, Indonesia's presidential candidates Joko Widodo and Prabowo Subianto tap into the potential of social media to attract the youth vote. In the run-up to the July 9 elections, both camps flood social media feeds with memes, photos, videos, and chatter about their campaigns and candidates. Jokowi's social media campaign is run by tech-savvy volunteers, while Prabowo's is run by digital analysts no older than 28. There are about 65 million Indonesians on Facebook, while at least 15.3 million are on Twitter. Those under 30 are heavy social media users, and they make up a third of the approximately 185.6 million total eligible voters. And at number 8, the World Health Organization calls out 33 nations to recognize the continued danger of tuberculosis and try to wipe it out by 2050. The WHO says countries such as the United States, Australia, France, and other developed nations are singled out because they are at the, quote, low level of incidence that allows them to truly target elimination. TB, which can be spread by sneezing, is the deadliest disease after AIDS to be caused by a single infectious agent. While preventable and curable, it still infects some 155,000 people every year. In the 33 developed nations listed, around 10,000 died of the disease in 2013. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com/Wrap. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page, which crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories with the most clicks. We have a couple of negative stories on our mood navigator today. Let's start with this one. This one is about the centennial celebration of the Iglesia ni Cristo. Aquino forms high-level task force for Iglesia ni Cristo Centennial. 56% annoyed. This one, this appeared on our mood navigator yesterday also. Imelda Marcos and son plot to reclaim the Philippine presidency. 69% angry. But the stories that drove our mood navigator today are the green stories over here and over here. Let's start with this one. This is our Rappler reporter, Patricia Evangelista. She won the Agence France Presse Kate Webb Prize, and this story gathered 72% happy votes. And the story that got the most number of votes on our mood navigator today is our top story for today. Court orders the arrest of Enrile and GIGI Reyes and the other accused. 80% happy. This mix on our mood navigator all contributed to the mood of the day. Today, most people are happy. That's Rappler's newscast for today, Friday, July 4, 2014. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Katerina Francisco. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.